I remember being 6-year-old little Andrew, Drew. I remember being in tears as I leaped onto my father's luggage, asking him not to leave, begging him to stay with his family. My mother, like my father, was broken apart, and after the divorce, we moved. We hoped to start fresh in a new city. A few years later, after living in different houses and sleeping on many living room floors, my mother met someone. She was so happy with him, and soon I was going to have another little brother. 6 months before he was born, I came home to the worst news. That man my mom loved was leaving. I saw the same brokenness and tear on my mom's face that I had seen as little Drew. All I could think was, what about the baby? He packed his luggage as I was in my mom's arms crying. As he walked out, he stopped, looked at 10-year-old me, and said, "Take care of my kid for me." That day I made a promise to myself that I would never leave my little brother's side, that I would be both his brother and his father. My mother fell into a deep depression. Life had no purpose to her. All we knew was pain and darkness. But then we were invited by a friend to church, here to Faith Church. We were desperate for hope, for a chance that things could get better. I remember showing up to this place thinking it's enormous. Everybody was happy, smiling and waving, and I thought to myself, I want to be happy just like them. Who is this Jesus guy, and where can I meet him? I could see in my mom's eyes that she longed for the same happiness and hope. That same day, my mom signed up to volunteer, and I began to see that hope in my mom's eyes. She had experienced the love of Jesus. From the age of 11 to 17, I kept my promise. I never left my family's side, but somewhere along the way, I began to forget that promise. I got carried away by the world. I was 17, I was an atheist, and I didn't believe in God. After spending my entire childhood raising my youngest brother and being the man of the house, I wanted to live for myself, and I broke that promise. This eventually led to a drug dependency that would spiral out of control. I was arrested on 5 different occasions for battery, violating probation, burglary, grand theft, and driving under the influence. I was in and out of jail, letting down everyone. At 25, I was making good money from a good job, had the beautiful apartment, fancy car, but I was abusing prescription drugs in order for me to perform better. This went on for 3 years. Then one day I woke up and everything hit me. I had everything I thought would bring me happiness, but I still felt alone and depressed. I looked in my cupboard full of pills and realized I was spending $900 a week on them, not to mention the marijuana I used to help me sleep and the alcohol I used to keep me up all night. I thought, what's the point? And I had thoughts of suicide. I fell to my knees and screamed out to God, and at that moment I felt like God released me from the chains that were binding me. On December 18th, 2015, I was freed from my addictions, and this past December I celebrated 2 years of sobriety. I'd like to say everything was perfect, but 2 weeks after giving my life to God, I was fired from my job, evicted from my house, and my car was repossessed. It stirred feelings of brokenness and depression, but I knew God was at work inside of me because He would tell me everything would be okay. He led me back here to West Covina, here to Faith Church, the same place my mom found hope and healing and restoration after she was broken and alone. I came back here thinking this place is still enormous. Everyone was still happy, still smiling and waving, and I pictured my mom 19 years ago walking in, desperate for hope, yet signing up to volunteer. So I did the same. I signed up to serve. At first, I was nervous and afraid. I thought I wasn't good enough to serve. I thought I was too broken and imperfect, but I knew it was something I had to do, so I went for it. And I realized nobody's perfect. We all have our shortcomings. You see, the enemy was trying to make me believe that I had to be perfect in order to walk through the church doors, but not here at Faith. Here, we accept whoever walks through these doors, no matter your past, no matter your situation. Since that day, I haven't looked back. I now know God has a purpose and a plan for my life to empower the next generation to know Jesus and His love, to remind them that no matter how hard life may get, no matter how painful it may seem, He can work all of it together for your good. Through all the twists and turns, ups and downs, that's what I hold on to. This love, this hope in Jesus.
My hope is built. Come on, let's sing that. On nothing less than Jesus' blood and Jesus' us.